AI becomes real when it shortens the distance between discovery and impact. And when you're at the frontier of modern pharma, the stakes could not be higher. So now let's look at Eli Lilly, where science becomes life-saving medicine. Please welcome Diogo Rao. Diogo, great to have you here. Thanks for being here. And look, I mean, Lilly has an incredible history and story of remarkable scale and impact in the world in medicine over many generations. And you've been at the center of sort of bringing this super important company into the modern age with the latest technology. Tell us a little bit about how technology is shaping Eli Lilly today and what that looks like.
Well, fantastic. And what a journey it has been, because Lilly actually just celebrated a birthday party on Thursday last week. We turned
Happy
150.
birthday.
Thank you. Really don't feel like a day over 140 years old. But Lilly is not a tech company at our core. We were started by a colonel from the Civil War in the United States who saw people needlessly dying on the battlefield, not getting medicines that they need, and worse, actually getting sham medicines. And he had this crazy idea that why don't we actually go use the scientific method, figure out what medicines actually work, and then figure out how to make them at large volumes. So from the beginning, Lilly was always a company about scale. So in 1923, when insulin was discovered, we had a breakthrough medicine that could save so many lives, but nobody could figure out how to make it at volume. That's where Lilly came in. Or actually penicillin, 1928 is when it was discovered. We needed it for World War II when people were dying on the battlefield. US had ramped up supply. By 1942, 14 years after penicillin was discovered, guess how many patients the United States could treat with its supply?
I don't know.
Anything? 10.
Oh, no.
Not 10,000,
that doesn't sound good.
Million. No, it doesn't. So the United States government, no, it's definitely not good. The United States government called Lilly and said, hey, can you do that thing you did with insulin? Can you do that again with penicillin? And that same thing happened again with the Salk polio vaccine. It happened again with the first COVID antibody. It's happening again today with GLP-1s, because medicine isn't just about discovering something new. It only works if you get it out in mass numbers to help the people that they need. The only way you ever get scale in medicine is to actually have technology underneath it all. And so that's why we have always been huge technology adopters at Lilly, early and big. We were one of the first to adopt the IBM mainframe back when it took up a space probably like this size to run. We were one of the first adopters, actually we were the first commercial adopter of the Cray 2 supercomputer. And this year in February, we went online with the pharmaceutical industry's largest supercomputer. We've always gone early and we've always gone big because technology is how you get that scale for medicines.
And give us a sense for what the impact is, how AI is making a difference today in Lilly.
Sure. Well, it makes a difference across the board, of course, because I think if we took it away from people, they would quit right now, right? Nobody wants to go back to the pre-AI days. But one of the exciting places, I think, is in manufacturing. We probably don't talk enough about what happens in the world of manufacturing.
To be able to scale up all these medicines.
Exactly, to get that scale of medicines again. And one of the things that's really cool I like is, when the medicines come down the filling line, they're like a social media influencer getting glamour shots the whole way from all kinds of different angles. It's about like 70 different photographs with budgets of milliseconds to detect defects. It's something that's super cool. Or actually the
optical inspection
exactly.
to ensure quality.
Because we used to have humans do that. And guess what? Humans mess up. Like these machines, they don't. And so it's amazing what you can do. Digital twins. I mean, how long have we been talking about digital twins? That's been like forever. Now we are actually really doing it. And we've taken processes that humans have said are completely fully optimized. And what we've done is we've replicated the machines that are in there as digital twins, moved them around. And guess what? The AI beat the humans. It's not completely optimized. So manufacturing is just a fascinating world. But the thing about it is we're so dependent on technology now that it just can't go down. That's the difference about this technology revolution from anything that we've ever seen before. And that's why we've been very happy about our partnership with Dell, because when we open a new site, we don't have to go out and figure out what we need to do. We've already got a plan together. We already have the architecture. We already have the stack. Everything's been validated, and it just works.
It's copy exact.
Exactly.
So that's the operations side. What about drug discovery and research and accelerating, really the plot of Eli Lilly at its core?
I love the challenges in research and discovery because that's another kind of scale challenge, just like we have never seen before. I mean, I think when we think of labs, and if you're not in this world, you picture people running around in white lab coats with notebooks, taking notes, and maybe looking through a microscope. No, today a modern lab, it's all technology in there, and every single one of those things is connected. Scientists aren't looking at some fuzzy image and trying to make something out. No, they've got 4K resolution, 120 frames per second of whatever they're taking. Everything in that lab is just showering us with data, petabytes of data as it goes. And it's fascinating, it's overwhelming, but at the same time, that's the data that we need to use to power AI. That's the whole reason we have such high performance compute needs.
And what happens in a couple of years when you get orders of magnitude more computing power to the research and drug discovery at Eli Lilly? I mean, how do you think about the effect of that on cancer and other sort of challenges that exist in the world?
I love that because we're already there. We're solving problems that that we weren't thinking about 10 years ago. The problems of 10 years ago are just frankly boring today. So everybody knows about AlphaFold, right? Super cool. You figure out genes and you figure out what protein would come out and what shape that makes. Well, you know what? That's boring. Nobody really cares about that now. It's like, who cares what the protein looks like? What is it going to do for me? That's what you need to know. Like, okay, so you've got a protein now. How is it going to interact with another protein? They're all moving rapidly in time and space, orbiting each other, bumping into other molecules. That's how we're actually modeling things that are much more advanced. Or and by the way, that's actually, back to cancer and things like that, that's actually how you build something that's so selective it can only attach to one class of cell. And if you can do that, you can drop off a payload, chemical or nuclear, actually, or other things like that, to kill a very specific cell. That's the kind of stuff we never could do before. It's just an absolute breakthrough with what we have in technology now.
So another example where we live in the most incredible times, and RNA vaccines, gene editing, all these things are incredible. So tell us a little bit about how Dell is supporting all these efforts and sort of what it means to be able to have the technology to power this.
Well, all the scale, everything I've been talking about only happens with technology, and all that scale is actually what we are getting from Dell. We are so proud of our AI supercomputer that we have running.
You said 1,000 GPUs?
1,016, yep.
Okay.
The newest generation. By the way, if you haven't seen one of these things, it's crazy. They're like, it's 105, 110 decibels. I clocked the wind speed coming off the fans at 30 miles an hour. It's like you're in a hurricane.
We're trying to make them quieter.
Okay, well, they're amazing. But no, the Dell infrastructure underneath is actually what's powering all of that. But I want to make it clear because it's not actually about the hardware. What we did first is we tried this out in a couple of smaller versions, and Dell was there with us as we were learning. We weren't just learning about how to set up the hardware. Dell was actually helping us with the whole management process, and what we really benefited from was not the models that we trained, but actually the training we got from you. And so I really would love to say thank you to you and to all of the Dell team members, because that's actually what helped us get the skills that we need to be able to build the supercomputer that we have today. And that's how we're going to make the kinds of breakthrough discoveries that we've been talking about. Because you know what? In 150 years from now, we're going to have new things that we can't. We're going to have breakthroughs that we couldn't possibly imagine. I think we're on the verge of maybe being able to end disease as we know it. I mean, something like that was completely unimaginable 20 years ago, but today we can imagine it. And I think it's what you said at the beginning. Now the challenge is, how do we shorten that distance between the discovery, the imagination, and the execution?
Diogo, amazing. Thank you for a life-changing partnership and capabilities that we're really privileged to be a part of. We're inspired by everything that you and Eli Lilly are doing with technology. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.